to the DST show at night. And let's get with these picks real quick, because we know my little hatred for what's been happening for the last several weeks. For the last week now, since Thursday. We're now 4 weeks left into and we have 3 week games left for nearly every team, trying to race for the playoffs. And over that time, the Bears have coming up after a tough I think they lost their 2 of the last 4 last time. Uh, they beat Thanksgiving. They beat the Thanksgiving team. They beat the Lions in Thanksgiving game. It was predicted that they weren't gonna win to go to the Cowboys until we know how shitty the coaching is, playing a huge factor into why the Cowboys got snuffed by the Bears. Now we're up to the 1 o'clock games. I have the Panthers, Falcons. If this is an easy win for the for the Panthers, I don't know what. Better running game. They have a better legit quarterback over to pass smartly, other than chucking it deep. And then risque pass blocking. Their O-line sucks. So does their defense. If the Panthers will win out here, they at least get a reasonable win to see if they're still in the playoff hunt. Next up, we still got the Colts Buccaneers. Colts been losing several straight games now. I think they lost their last 3 in a row that kept them snuffed behind the AFC South over the Texans and over the Colts and the Texans have just been railing it out there until the Texans won 4 straight games and they've been playing well. Colts can still keep it alive if they want to still rail in wild card. Because the Jaguars aren't doing their thing and the Titans, they're tied up. If this was an AFC South game, this would be something to be threatening of. But you guys have to beat the Buccaneers if it's possible, because I still think you guys have the more disciplined defense, and I feel like thanks there's no injuries coming from Jacoby Brissett, this could be an easy win. We got teams that beaten more teams above 500, yet you're still not above 500 because they suck. Now, what these teams have in common? I think they both beat the Jets. No, they have not beaten the Jets. Only they've beaten the Cowboys. The Dolphins beaten the Jets. What the fuck? And all I can say is what a road, right? The Tank Bowl is coming up, and I got who we're rooting for. Obviously the Jets. I have to win the Tank Bowl. If you don't know what a Tank Bowl is when we have shitty teams facing off against each other with the crappiest record, and whoever loses the game legit gets a higher chance of getting that lottery pick. So, yeah, it's the Jets. They believe have more legit talent, and the Dolphins could at least score in the fourth quarter, unlike the Jets can be over the last several times. They even lost to the freaking Giants. You're telling me right now that you think the Jets have a chance of beating the Dolphins? Next up, we have the Saints and the 49ers. The 49ers have been losing 2 of their last 3 games, and most of them were against division leaders, except the Seattle Seahawks. They lost 2. The last 3. We beat the Packers. We lost twice against the Seahawks. We lost against the Seahawks, and we got snuffed recently against the Baltimore Ravens. That leaves us with 2 losses in our record. And most of them I thought that we had more confidence beating, but thanks to the injuries we've been having, especially over George Kittle and our D-line, and how the Saints have been playing recently, I want to say the 49ers. I want to. But in this big loss we had against Baltimore, that must rail us down. I think we can win our next few games if we have Arizona again. But by God. This is going to be a rough week. We've been having the toughest competition we had, and the toughest team we've beaten over this from last month was the Packers. Saints in 10. We got the Lions, Vikings. Vikings. I like the third string quarterback. He's doing his thing. He actually has some good NFL arm. He's shooting at the ball as good as possible. The running game has quietly improved, and no Matthew Stafford to chuck over the football so he can get some easy third downs. And Darius Slay to get a few swats in, but no good tackles, and the rest of the defense to just do f all. So, yeah, the Vikings. Thinks they still have a game behind the Packers. Next up, we have the Broncos against the Bills. I mean, the Texans. Texans need to win this one. They need to stay a game up, and it looks like they're either going to start Drew Lock. Drew Lock for this game, making it its third career start, maybe. And the Broncos have been playing better without Emmanuel Sanders, playing a bit more faster and efficient. And they already have a good receiver. And how they've been better without Joe Flacco scares the shit out of me. Because we know they're 17th on defense, and most of how they've been doing, they're 9th in defense. And over the last couple of meetings they had with the Texans, they have won. Over momentum and over the years, it kept deteriorating because the last time in 2016, they actually had a legit football team, Brock Osweiler, coming up close and then it's getting snuffed in the 2018 season. Now this is their fourth meeting. And the Broncos offense sucks. Really bad. They're 27th on offense. Passing their 31st because they keep hitting it short. And they can't be efficient in touchdowns. They got to rely on Royce Freeman or Philip Lindsay. Messing with the number 9 defense against the number 9 offense. But you got Carlos Hyde to rush you out of trouble, especially with the second string in. Will Fuller has been doing his thing, so this could be an easy 24-point game for the Texans. Next up, we got a big game at 1 o'clock with the Ravens that's been snuffing real NFL teams. Do I really think that they could beat the Bills? They know how to get themselves out of a scrambling quarterback mess. And they have always beaten the freaking Bills. Last time was a 47-3 victory against the Buffalo Bills on the road back September 9th of 2018. Now here they are again. And over the recent matchups when the Bills were somewhat mediocre, they have at least won via under double-digit victory by 13-9 or 13-7. Now they come up with the top-ranked offense in the league, while you're messing with the number 3 defense that just snuffed out the Dallas Cowboys in Thanksgiving football. And here they are right now with both teams above 9 wins. Now the Bills are 9-3. The Ravens are 10-2. Number 2 ranked offense, but 25th in passing, but they're number 1 in rushing. These guys know how to rotate and use Gus Edwards. They'll use Mark Ingram. They'll use Lamar Miller. They'll use Lamar Jackson if possible. And most of what they have is just Shady. Not Shady McCoy anymore. But they still have a decent running group. And Josh Allen has a better chance of passing out the football. Their defense is going to give Lamar Jackson a run for his money. No pun intended. I feel like the Bills could win by at least 14, if it's possible. I just want something to cripple the Ravens settle confidence for a bit. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson isn't going to rush. We've seen him play well but lose against bigger teams like the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that was week 5 or week 7. Next up, AFC North game against the Bengals that finally got their first season win against the Browns. The Bengals beat the Steelers. And I think some Steelers fans are a bit upset. I should have saw this coming because the Steelers have been doing all right and they've still been in the playoff hunt, being second best in the AFC North. I mean, third best, over getting snuffed out from a few teams. But the Browns been building up at least some steam. Do I think that the Browns can finally win against a division rival? Because last time I saw, they did beat the Baltimore Ravens. One time. Once. Now, over that time, they were below on offense. Their scheme was crap. And thanks to somehow Gardner Minshew being out of the starting lineup for the Jaguars, you are now messing with a new team. They know how to rush out the ball. How in the hell the Bengals lost to the Steelers, like overly playing over the ball and underestimating the Bengals was a tough mistake, and I think something the Browns won't make a mistake of. Thanks, they still need to stay alive in the playoff hunt, even though we know they're not going to touch it. So, I bet 24 points. Messing with a team like that, and then we got Packers, Redskins. Devontae Adams, you're not messing with Aaron. There's barely nothing. They're the worst team on offense. Dwayne Haskins can't chuck over the football to save his life. The defense has been a mess. God, how in the hell are you going to stop this Packers team, especially when your offense can't generate any points? Rarely. These guys haven't done anything threatening since week 1. Guess who else didn't do anything until week 3? The fucking Cowboys. Or the Eagles. Or anybody else that was supposed to be generated for a playoff lead. Your division already sucks, Redskins. Mind you to you, people knew you guys were going to rebuild after getting rid of Kirk Cousins for over $30-something million to the Vikings. And then you change it with a has-been, a one-off Cinderella story, and a promising rookie that you guys should have started like at least week 3. He started week 9. The dude has barely any pocket passing experience, and he can't run out the football because the O-line is trash. Imagine how the Packers are going to deal with that. We got Chargers, Jaguars. Oh, by the way, Packers beat by at least 34. They're not beating the Redskins. They're not beating the Packers. There's no way they're touching the Packers. Next up, we have the Chargers against the Jaguars. I just want to say Chargers because the Jaguars are trash. They barely have anything going for them. The Chargers need a win. Has-been quarterback has to deal with a young, inexperienced defense. They're still messing out with Joey Bosa, Darren Williams. He's still messing with a really good defense. Their offense is just going to be making laid down mistakes, especially how the way Philip Rivers has been passing the ball recently. So, please, if the Chargers can finally win a game and prove that they at least have some promise, just maybe get rid of Philip Rivers for maybe Case Keenum. There's a bunch of football quarterbacks in the market that you guys could go for. That's what I'm begging for, because this has been a disappointing Chargers season, and I really wanted the Chargers to be successful this year. I was a believer. When they won those 9 straight games, Philip Rivers was chucking out over the football and hitting over to Williams. Now it looks like he can barely pass the football at all. And the only threatening corner you got to deal with is A.J. Boye. DJ Clark coming from the deep end. chucking over a football. I mean, it's not that exciting when you're watching Chargers football. That's just me. That's just me. I'm sorry. Kind of lost a bit of my belief for the Chargers. It's going to be maybe one of the games that end via field goal. Next up, we have the Steelers face off against the Cardinals. I want to say the Cardinals. You guys have not dealt with a guy that can run out the pocket and win a game. That can't have a legit arm and move out with receivers. And you guys have shown that you guys can deal well with the veteran defenses at all. In the back, and the Steelers continue to be the most depressing piece of football to watch on television. Still to this day, I'm gonna just rewatch some of the games from Week 13, just to see what I was talking about, and I'll maybe go over it because I don't do like in-depth takes on why this team is trash. I really don't. Sadly, I should do stuff like that. You're messing with the 32nd worst team on defense. They're 5th in defense. They're 28th in the league on offense. And it comes to TJ Watt, decent corners that can somewhat get the football sometimes, and a legit D line. How a third string quarterback has been had the best QB performance in the league after the Mason Rudolph got hit with a helmet, got a leg injury, and got snuffed by teams that you guys should have won. You guys caused the fucking Bengals to finally get a win this season. That's depressing. And how you guys are still in the playoff hunt scares the shit out of me. Because you guys don't deserve to make it to the playoffs. You guys are second in the AFC North, and I don't know damn well how. When we know damn well you guys are not going to be contending with the Baltimore Ravens. Not even close, but you won the last like 4 games. Out of luck, injuries, and nearly every primetime game felt like a 1 o'clock game this year. So that was exciting. Don't think I forgot about that Chargers game, or the time you guys had that Monday Night Football game against the Browns, or how it was super easy. So please, God, I'd rather have the Cardinals win because it's so much low expectations, and I think a Steelers fan has the same issue with how the Steelers have been playing this year. Next up, Titans Raiders. Wow. I think a fun game. This is going to be a competitive slugfest against teams that are on paper equal, except in the rushing department. Joseph Jacobs has been playing well over. He's been getting himself at least 160, 125. He's been averaging a lot of better rushing yards than sometimes Derrick Henry. That has been inconsistent, but he's been rushing out the games. He's played well a few times. They're 7-5 currently, and they're still in the dog hunt of a crappy AFC South, with the only team contending to take over second place is literally just the freaking Colts. That are matching out the record, except I have the Colts winning. And Ryan Tannehill, if this was Marcus Mariota, I would have the Raiders winning. Because they don't know how to etch out it. They have a better way how to ball hawk than how the Raiders have been, after what they've been doing. But thanks to Malcolm Butler, a decent secondary that can stop over the football, I want to say the Titans. If it's somewhat the Colts, though, that would be a crazy upset. I want to say the Raiders. Because if I jinx myself, I would jinx myself saying the Titans. So I'm going to give them a 7-point lead. Next up, we have an AFC Championship rematch on 4 o'clock. Isn't it weird? Like, over the few upsets we had against in some of our times, like, because the last time they played against the Patriots was literally this January. And they lost by a 6-point margin in a high-scoring game. That would be the final high-scoring game the Patriots would have that playoff after the slow fest we had against uh, the Rams. And over the last several meetings, the last 3 meetings, they have ended over 30 points of scoring. That is crazy. When they had them on opening kickoff, with the shocker upset off a 42-27 game when Pat Mahomes, I think that was with Alex Smith. Pat Mahomes started, but still had a rough time beating over the Patriots scheme. This time they're a bit more worrisome. The offensive line is kind of trash for the Patriots. They have been snuffed out by the Ravens. They got snuffed out by the Texans, and now they have a legit team with Tyrann Mathieu that will run circles around most of what they have. Not much they have to rely on, just a veteran secondary. I feel like they actually have a chance of beating the Patriots and putting their lights out. Now, I might be wrong, but it wouldn't be hard to be a bit optimistic thanks to how old their D-line is. And how shifty they're going to be, and how not that creative they're going to be after losing Michael Bennett to the Dallas Cowboys, even though the Dallas Cowboys are still playing with the Dallas Cowboys. We still know. Mediocre incarnate. Then we got Rams, Seahawks. Seahawks are going to win. We have not seen an exciting Rams game in quite some time, and over that time, the Seahawks only won recently back in October. In a tough, close one that ended with, I think DK Metcalf dropped the football. Missed field goal coming from LA. Really good back and forth. This is their second meeting this season now. Over the last 2 they had last year, Rams won twice by at least via field goal or at least a close touchdown over overtime. And now they're the top-ranked offense in the league. There are over 10 wins. Now they're taking over the NFC West, and they have been playing the best football all year. They're top 3 on defense, but they're 24 they're top 3 on offense, but they're 24 on defense. They're just not adding stuff up. They'll easily keep it good for Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp over the slot. How they might stop the running game could be possible if only Todd Gurley runs up the gut. I want to say this would be an upset, thanks I feel like the Rams are still but they're competitive. So I'm giving it over to the Rams as well, even though I think the Seahawks can just snuff over that, and Russell Wilson's just going to give it over to Metcalf, a lock-in, just tucks it over to Dinsley. I changed my mind. That's going to be the fucking Seahawks. What's wrong with me? Next up is going to be Monday Night Football. It's going to be the Eagles. As trash as the Eagles are, they have no legit injuries. Even though the only exciting part of returning injuries coming out of their team was Jalen Mills back a few weeks ago. And over watching their games, it's been shit. I'm not going to lie. The most reliable part of offense is chucking it over to Alshon Jeffrey for a third down convert, or at least to chuck it over to Zach Ertz whenever there's an in route, and then it's a play action fake over the inside or outside for. It's the most predictable offense. It's predictable. And if you're an Eagles fan, you guys know how shit you gotta be to lose to the Miami Dolphins? Off decent in-route plays. How Jabari just completely kept snuffing from your deep end and kept taking out your corners like it was nothing. Easy passes Carson Wentz keeps putting out to himself. And now you gotta deal with literally the best defensive player on their team was Jabril Peppers. The Giants' defense still is shit. Their offense is crap. The receiving core is mediocre. If you guys can't beat against the Giants, you guys fucking suck. I apologize for cussing, but you know you guys suck. You guys gotta get something together. I'm being serious. I'm not a believer of the Eagles, but I'm a believer in improvement. And you guys are terrible right now. over the last few meetings, yes, you have beaten the Giants by double digits in a big field goal back in 2017 when you guys were pushed for the playoffs in the Super Bowl. But I remember when they had LeGarrette Blount, Jay Ajayi, more better receivers than Nelson Aguilar, a decent defense that can actually pick up some room with Bennett. They actually had a good linebacking core, and they actually had a better corners than just Jalen Mills and a bit of oh my god, other than their other veteran corner. I swear to you, I even forgot about their defense. They have been that mediocre. They're 14th on defense, but all they can do is swat out the football sometimes. They don't get sacks. I've barely seen them get sacks. They're terrible at stopping the pass. It's sad. I'm shocked that they're under the 20s by now. The offense is so slow, boring, and monotonous. It's hard to watch them pass the football without knowing, oh, it's a play action. You know how terrible you got to be to know that we can tell when it's a play action. This is gonna be a 14, like a 17 or 24 point win, but you guys are going to be terrible. Daniel Jones is gonna put up points. He will put up points against a team like this. He knows how to at least chuck over the football, and the only threatening deep threat they have is fucking Sterling Shepard and Golden Tate. So yeah, guess who else is gonna run out? Like, remember when you guys had Arizona back? I think it was week 11 or something. You guys got snuffed out the ball by Clement. That's how it's gonna feel. They don't even have to put their starter in. This is an easy game. So yeah, that's my picks for week 14. I'm depressed. Thank you for watching. Join the DST show.